In the Impact segment tonight, is the Democratic Party turning its back on the Clintons? Far-left Senator Elizabeth Warren seemed to take a shot at Hillary Clinton during an interview with Jimmy Kimmel last night and laid out a new strategy to leave the party's ugly 2016 loss behind it.
We cannot shoot at everything that moves. When Donald Trump, remember in the movie Up, the dog?
Yeah.
When he yells, squirrel, we cannot all go over there. What I mean by that really is we got to keep a focus not on what he says, not on what he tweets. We got to keep a focus on what he actually does.
My apologies to the Jimmys. That was Jimmy Fallon, not Jimmy Kimmel, but they are both great comedians. So joining us now with a reaction from Washington, Kristen Soltis-Anderson, Washington Examiner and GOP pollster, along with Democratic strategist Don Calloway. So glad that you both are here. So now that the Democrats are sort of looking, getting the 2016 election behind them and looking forward to 2018, and I think somebody who has a book out is looking at 2020, are they trying to figure out a way to let the Clinton legacy sort of fade into the background? Kirsten, I'll let you go first.
Absolutely. And I can't believe I'm actually going to utter this sentence, but I think there's something right in what Elizabeth Warren said there about Democrats sort of chasing after every little thing that Donald Trump does that gets them upset and agitated. And if they want to be smart and think strategically, really choosing which battles they want to fight and which things they're going to let go. So I think she's right. And I think that when it comes to the Clinton legacy, I mean, the Clintons have been the leaders of the Democratic Party, either from Bill Clinton's presidency and then through this campaign. You had the Obama moment where you had this new culture, new group of people that were at the helm of the Democratic Party, but the Clinton folks, the Clinton machine was ready to go. And now that that has failed, there are all these deep roots in the party where someone new wants to step up and say, I am the captain now. Elizabeth Warren may be one of those people. There are lots of folks all competing to fill this vacuum that has now been left.
All right, Dawn, so what do you think? I don't think that the Clintons will ever be frowned upon by the Democratic Party because obviously they have so many roots and over the decades. But sure. Are they trying to figure out a way to either move left or move forward? What's their next move?
Thanks, Anna. Well, clearly the titular head of the Democratic Party is Secretary Tom Perez, who was just elected to be our party chair, and his deputy, Jamie Harrison. We expect exciting things out of them. Secretary Clinton's legacy is cemented not only as an American leader, but as a global leader. So her place in the annals of not only American, but world history is very secure. And Senator Warren knows that, and I don't think she said anything disrespectful to Secretary Clinton's legacy last night. But I think that when we consider the bubble of D.C., it's important to consider that the leadership of our Democratic Party is not only Secretary Perez and Senator Schumer and those here in D.C., but it also happens on the local level when you see dynamic individuals like Tashara Jones in St. Louis, Pete Buttigieg in South Bend, Indiana, Randall Woodfin in Birmingham. And that's a substantial part of the Democratic message, which can be an active part of the Trump resistance taking place right now all across the country. We can't forget the local levels and finding and elevating those local leaders, not only just here in D.C.
But Kristen, does Trump resistance also, if they stick to it, does that lessen their chances of being able to win back states that they lost, like Wisconsin, Pennsylvania, and Michigan, which were very different this time for Democrats and went for Donald Trump? Not by a lot, but decisively.
It will mean choosing to pursue a brand new map in the way that Donald Trump pursued a brand new map for Republicans during this last election and surprised everyone, going after states that were thought that Republicans couldn't really win or would struggle. He pulled it off. So for Democrats to win, they'll have to decide, do they want to go back and fight to pull those states back into the blue category, pick back up a Wisconsin, pick back up a Michigan, or do they decide, look, trying to win over the white working class, the voters in these states that rejected Hillary Clinton, do we abandon that and instead try to piece together a majority in places like Florida, places like Colorado, North Carolina, states where there's demographic change that may favor Democrats long term? But they've got to make that choice. Which path do they think they're going to try to pursue? And that's going to be decided, I think, in large part by who they choose to be the face and leader of the party when it comes to their primary 4 years from now.
Well, Don, do they have to choose or can they do both?
Well, I think that we can do both, and I think that we've already made a choice. I know that's a very mush-mouthed answer, but the reality of the matter is that there is one unified Democratic Party message of opportunity for all and inclusion for all, and we're seeing that message with Secretary Perez and new Chairman Perez. We're seeing that message in a 57-state strategy, including the 50 states and 7 of the territories. We will see a unified Democratic message that speaks the same to urban areas as it does to the farmers in Iowa, of, again, opportunity, of inclusion, of equal access to the ballot box, of women's rights to choose. issues, and I don't think that we will see a fragmented Democratic message. And I think the identity politics that plagued the Democratic Party of somewhat of the last 10 years is done, and we will see a unified message throughout the party over the next 10 years and into the future.
Okay, so last night in the Georgia 6 special election, both sides are claiming that they won, or that they can say that there was victories. And Kristen, I'm going to let you go first. Why do the Republicans think that this was a big win for them, besides the fact that they were able to hold off the Democrat?
Well, there's now a chance to not just hold this seat, but actually bring another Republican woman to Washington. I know personally that's why I'm pretty excited about the fact that Karen Handel is going to be moving into the runoff as the Republican candidate. Look, I do think that Republicans need to be a little nervous. This is exactly the type of district where if Democrats do want to take back the House, it's going to be districts like this where they do it. On the other hand, I think the expectations had been raised so much by all sorts of money and interest coming in from Hollywood and the Democratic and progressive base all around the country that tried to nationalize this one little special election, that for Democrats not to have just won it outright last night has to be kind of a disappointment for them. And so now we move on to the next phase in June, where I think Republicans are slightly favored to hang on to this seat.
Well, Don, do you think that the Democrats raised expectations too high for Jon Ossoff last night?
I don't think so, Dana. And let's be clear, this is a substantial win for Jon Ossoff and the DCCC and the National Democratic Party. This is a seat that just 5 months ago, now Secretary Tom Price won by 61.6%. So we've seen a 10-point swing in favor of the Democratic Party, and that is nothing that my Republican friends can objectively just dismiss. That is a 10-point swing, which is based upon nothing but the first 100 days of the Trump administration, which charitably, at best, have been pretty rocky at best and disastrous at worst. That's all that
they would spin it another way. Yeah. But yes, Kristen, Don, thank you so much.
Thanks for having us.
All right.